Boycott the Arizona law. Well, it was a hugely controversial attempt to curb illegal immigration in Arizona in the US, but just hours before a law came into play which would oblige officers to check the immigration status of anyone they believed to be suspicious, a district court judge blocked that move. Well, I'm joined from Washington now by Doris Meissner, a former commissioner of the US Immigration and Naturalization Service, who's now a fellow at the Migration Policy Institute. Doris, thanks very much indeed for joining us. No one seems too surprised at the district judge's ruling, and yet Arizona governor still saying it's just a bump in the road. What do you reckon?
Well, this is not too much of a surprise. I agree with that. The government did what it did in bringing a lawsuit because this is a law in Arizona that goes against our federal system where immigration is a federal responsibility. And the judge did what she needed to do, which is basically say, let's put this issue on hold. There are portions of the law that could bring harm, and I, as a district court judge, need to have time to hear the arguments and consider them on the merits. So this is certainly a temporary on hold.
Yeah, I guess that's the key word,
will have to be heard,
isn't it?
And then there will be a real ruling.
Yeah, I guess that's the key word, temporary, because there is still that very vibrant argument as to whether this can go through or not. I mean, is the basic view that this has to remain a federal issue, the one that you feel at the moment now has the upper hand?
Well, that's exactly right. That's certainly the view that the federal government is taking, and the Justice Department argued, and that's what the judge has agreed needs to be fully explored. So the temporariness is that she's not saying that this law can't go into effect ever. She's saying, I need a chance as the representative of the federal court to fully hear the arguments and fully consider them before making a ruling.
Yeah, we've got representatives from Utah State, for example, still saying, well, blow that, we're going to push ahead nonetheless with our own Arizona equivalent.
We are hearing that, but to be honest, I'd be surprised, because when a federal court gets into the issue and issues an injunction, I think it will give people in other states pause, if only because it's very expensive to move forward on litigation, and it's very clear that there is a valid basis for litigation here. This is really our
expensive, but I'm just going to say highly political as well, though, isn't it? It's almost one of those issues where state governors feel we cannot give in now.
Well, it certainly is very political, but ultimately it's a political challenge to a long-established set of constitutional principles, and those constitutional principles now need to be tested in the court system, and that's the proper setting for this challenge to be worked out, unless there is a political solution at the federal level with legislation that many have been arguing needs to move forward that would ultimately settle the matter legislatively. Right.
Well, we're at first base on that. We'll see how much further it goes. Doris Meissner, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
You're watching GMT with me, David Eads. Coming up in just a moment, trade talks with India, but the spotlight very much on Pakistan.